So this is just a trio. This is just guitar, bass, and drums. And I saw this video of Otis Rush live on TV, and it was great. I love Otis Rush. I heard Otis Rush for the first time when I was a little kid on a blues compilation. And it's in B flat. As with all of these, you can transpose these. You can move these to different keys just by moving your hand around the neck. If you don't want to start out in B flat, you know, there are quite a few other turnarounds throughout this lesson that are in some easier guitar keys. But starting out here in B flat, and I just with the B.B. King thing, I put it in C because D flat's a little more exotic. But B flat, it's not quite as unguitar friendly, and Otis sings it in B flat. So I start out on the F7 chord. So you got to think, like in the key of B flat, what's a 12-bar blues? Your three chords are B flat 7, E flat 7, and F7. So F7 is the 5 chord. We start all of these from the 5 chord down. So starting on the F7, I just go at the 8th fret with my second finger covering the 6th and 5th strings, and then the 7th fret on the 4th string, 8th fret on the 3rd string. Strum through with the pick and hold it, the whole bar. Then just move that shape down 2 frets, E flat 7, and I only get the 5th string. I didn't strum through the 6th string there, but that hardly matters if you do that, or if you do just the 5th string and 4th string and 3rd string. So it's a bigger sound to go 6th string. But in this case, especially when you got a bass line going on underneath, you know, however your hand lands there is fine. But F7 back to E flat 7, and then I move it up 1 fret, almost symmetrically. The 1st finger and the 3rd finger move up symmetrically. But my 2nd finger releases, because I don't need anything on the 5th string anymore for the B flat chord coming up. And I put my thumb around at the 6th fret to get the low B flat note. So that's my B flat 7 chord. So those first 3 chords are like this. And that's only really going to last a dotted quarter note if I'm counting in 12A. It's like 1, 2, 3. Or if I'm feeling it as a slow 4, it's triplet. And then comes the turnaround lick. Now in the sheet music, and this is throughout all of these, you'll see guitar 2 is really notated as non-turnaround parts. And guitar 1 is the turnaround only. Because you have a chance to play along on all of these tracks, I wanted to keep them on the written page very clear for you. So anything in guitar 2 is just not the turnaround. Whether it's sort of a rhythm guitar kind of lick, or if it's just holding down some block chords like here. So when you see an E flat 7 chord in the middle of measure 3, but you see that lick above, obviously I can't hold down the chord and play the lick at the same time when it's just a guitar, drums, bass trio. So the first time I get that B flat 7 chord, and then immediately after that dotted quarter note, go into the turnaround lick, which is. So I stick with the turnaround, finish the turnaround out, resolve that, and after that last note, it has a chance to ring, and I finish that. Then on the E flat 7 chord, it's the last measure of music on that particular page of music, 2nd bar of the 1st ending. As I said in the Sweet Little Angel turnaround lesson, I'm not talking so much about measure numbers in these turnarounds because what you see on the page is not really what's functioning in a 12-bar blues cycle. We're starting all these from the 5 chord down, which would fall on bar 9 of a 12-bar blues progression. Bar 9, 10, bar 11 of a 12-bar blues, and there's going to be my turnaround. I'll play the lead guitar part and show you in a moment. Bar 12 now, and 12 goes to the F7 chord, and we're going to lead back home. Bar 1, the 12-bar blues cycle is starting all over again. Bar 2, I'm going to go to the 4 chord. Bar 3, I'm back on the B flat 7, the 1 chord, and I'm going to go bar 4. And after I play 4 bars of that, that's where we don't need to play complete solos here. It's just a lesson on the turnarounds. I'm going to lead you back to the 5 chord again, which is functioning the 12-bar blues cycle. If we were playing full 12-bar cycles, that would fall in bar 9. and I'm taking you back to the 5 chord, and that's your chance to make sure you're ready, and you're going to have a chance to play the lead guitar turnaround. So when we get to the turnaround, you've got the F7, you got the E flat 7, you got the B flat. They're just chords, very simple chords I played. When I get to the single notes, I start on the 6th fret of the 4th string, and I go then to the 8th fret on the 5th string. And when I say I start, really that means Otis Rush starts. So he just plays this lick, and it's a great lick. It's 6th fret, 8th fret, like we said, and then back to the 6th, back to the 8th, back to the 6th. So the first 5 notes are just between those 2 frets. And in the right hand, I'm doing a little bit of alternate picking, but I feel like I'm starting on an upstroke. So it's up, down, up, I think. Yeah. So later in the series, we do have a lesson. We're going to talk about some specific right hand articulation techniques. So we'll get more in detail about some of those things. They make a lot of difference just in terms of pure sound alone and tone off of your hands. And all great blues guitar players had some pretty different techniques in the right hand. It's well worth paying attention to. But for now, just whatever is going to help you get that groove. Some guys might even be playing just with fingers. So you can do that too. So it's, after we get those first 5 notes, there is an open 4th string, which is just like it's just like a groove thing. Now that open D string actually does match a B flat 7 chord. It goes with it. It's a major 3rd. But you're not hanging on it like a chord tone, emphasizing it. It's not letting it really be obvious. It's just there momentarily, and then he goes on to the 5th fret, and I put a little vibrato on it, and that is a G note, which conveniently coincides with the E flat 7 chord, which is what the bass goes to. And next time when we go around and I'm not playing the lead guitar part, I'm going to hold down this E flat 7 chord. Okay? When I'm playing the lead guitar part, as we've said, there's no way in the world, no matter how good you are, how much you practice, you're not going to be able to play single note lines and block chords at the same time in different parts of the neck. But first time I'm just holding down that E flat, that G note. The second time I'm just going to hit the E flat 7 chord there. And you see those on both staves of music there. So sticking with the lead turnaround. So that gets you through the first part of that bar, and then hold it for a little bit, and then you go to the open 3rd string. And the open 3rd string again, it's just like it goes with the chord. It's definitely a good note. It's a chord tone, but you're not emphasizing it. It's just there rhythmically on the way to the next section, on the way to the next part of the lick. So it's open 3rd string, up to the 6th fret, up to the 7th fret, up to the 8th fret, and you're going to hit the 8th again, and this is all on the 3rd string. So you're going to hit that again. And the second time, you're going to do a slow bend. Bend it up a full step. So you're going to bend that all the way up, and then beat 1. And this is, if you're literally looking on the page, this is measure 4. But remember how these are functioning. This is bar 12 of a 12-bar cycle. We're going to land there at the 6th fret on the B string, on the 2nd string, and put a good vibrato on that, definitely. And hold that, and then comes the 6th fret on the high E string, followed by the 9th fret of the 2nd string with my pinky, when pulled off back to the 6th fret there. So, okay, and then after that, you're going to go to the 8th fret on the 3rd string, and then I'm going to re-articulate that note and bend up a full step and really give it a wide, vicious vibrato. And Otis Rush, I mean, I love his vibrato. It's like one of my favorite vibratos. I have about 10 favorite vibratos. I have a lot of favorite vibratos for blues guitar in particular, but he's a big one. It's one of the first things I noticed, first time I heard him play when I was a little kid. Sadly, I heard him on record, but I'd like to say I was there. But I heard, I think it was So Many Trains, and the vibrato on it was so vicious. So I'm pushing the string up and putting the vibrato on top. This goes back to the vibrato lesson. We have a whole lesson talking about how to get a good vibrato on top of a bend. And you can push for the third string, I push that string up, usually. But the other thing you can do is, in that part of the neck, because you've got some wiggle room, you've got space to physically pull the string down and then do it there. And so the string is moving in the other direction. You can do that. And that can be even a kind of more warbly sounding vibrato, like a more kind of like slower, wider. And the big thing is, you just, as long as it's in tune and the rate and the width of the vibrato feels good and sounds good, it is good. You know, you don't want to like analyze this stuff too much, but you could go like that, or you could go like that. However, it feels better with your hand. And pulling down, you have a bit of an advantage where you're really more pulling the string more from the, it's a different set of muscles in the left hand. And it's kind of easier to, like, you see like Albert King, you know, playing the guitar, and he's doing so much pulling down because his strings were reversed, because, you know, his high E string was on top, and when your strings are reversed, it's a big difference, like on those wide bends Albert did. If you're pushing up a full 2 steps or pulling down, sometimes you can do like a wider bend easier pulling down. So on the third string, you have the option to pull down. Not so much on the second and the first. But however you're going to do that, you get that vibrato. And then once that runs its course, you can just go back to the 6th fret of the 5th string and resolve it back to the 5th fret. Put a little bit of vibrato on it. Nothing like what just happened a moment ago. You know, even in the same phrase, it's really good to have in your hands a wide range of how you want to express the note, because there are going to be times you really want to like shake the strings, and times where it's just very delicate. It's like you don't want to shout all the time, but you don't want to whisper all the time either. So that finishes the turnaround lick, and then I just go back into the chords. E flat 7 here, 6th fret, 5th fret, 6th fret, and second finger covering the 6th and the 5th strings, first finger on the 4th string, third finger on the 3rd string. And we go back to the B flat 7 chord, play the B flat 7 again, and that's the end of the first ending, and it just goes back to the F7 chord, goes back to the E flat 7 chord, goes to the B flat 7 chord, which you did the first time, but now I'm not playing the turnaround, you're playing the turnaround. So I'm going to go E flat 7 and play the chord while you keep playing the lick. You're doing that, I'm doing this, and I'm going to go then back to the B flat 7 chord, you're still playing, and I'm just doing that, and then I'm going to go to the F7 chord, that's 8, 7, 8. The only difference between that and the first time I did it is I'm not hitting the 6th string. I'm just getting the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. And then I'm going to end this with the B flat 7 chord. So that is the whole part. I'll go through and play this somewhat. It's already a slow blues, but just to go through it one more time, nice and step by step, and then we'll play this at tempo. It's going to be like. Remember, you can pull the string down if you want also. I pushed up there. I probably do it about 50-50, varying whether I push up or pull down. It just kind of depends on the moment. And I'm just playing these block chords, playing these whole notes. You might also find you like strumming with your thumb. It'll be a different sound than a pick. Sometimes you do pick and fingers. That's a different sound. Or all pick. It'll sound more like a pick. So that's the whole example. And we'll go ahead now and turn on the click track. you're playing the lick, now I'm just playing some chords.